Hello and welcome back to another episode of Strong Collectors Comics. My name is Jordan and I'm joined today, as always, by my plucky co-host and sidekick, Dakota. And today we are going to be talking about Venom, which just got a trailer, and a bigger idea, which is the notion that Sony is going to be using AI more in their films, which to this point, Dakota, I thought that's what they were already doing, to be honest. But, we can talk about that a little bit more in a minute. However, before we get started, we do have a giveaway to announce for the Spawn 350. That is going, so we did our wheel. We promised we did it. It's always randomly generated. But our runner-up for this one is Jimmy Gibson, and our main winner is Chris P. So both of you, if you can send us an email with your information, and if we haven't heard from Chris P within 7 days, Jimmy, the prize will go to you. So please be sure to get those emails in so that we can have your information and roll with those. However, let's get into talking about some Sony Venom stuff. So Dakota, what did you think of the Venom trailer? Did you get to check that out?
Yeah, I thought the trailer was very eh.
Right.
Like it wasn't like terrible, but also I am just so sour on Sony doing anything Marvel that they would have to do something incredible for me to really get excited about it.
Right.
And I saw the first Venom movie. It was okay. Not gonna make my top 5 of anything. I did not watch the second one. If I can find that on streaming, maybe I will. Don't know if it's streaming anywhere, but the third one, I don't think I'm going to be rushing out to go see it in theaters for sure. I kind of am just boycotting Sony Marvel theaters. I'm not going to do that. So there's that for you.
Well, that's fair. Well, my experience, I remember when they first announced that they were doing a Venom movie not connected to the MCU and Spider-Man. I was pretty confused and a little bummed out. So that may have kind of painted my perception going into it. So I saw the first one, I was like, this is terrible. And I don't know, in the last year or so, maybe my wife Sam had not seen them. So she watched the first one. She actually really liked it. And there was a lot more I appreciated about it. I do think Tom Hardy brings a lot to that role, seems very passionate about it. And I like the way they characterize Venom and their relationship is fun.
Yeah. It seems a little bit more like modern comics, Venom and Eddie, where they're kind of like having that back and forth and like a relationship between them versus like what I remember at the beginning where it was just kind of like the symbiote just gives you some powers and you're just a little bit more buff and angry.
Right. I'm evil. I hate Spider-Man type thing. So, so I didn't even mind that part. And the second one, though, I thought was just terrible. Speaking as someone who did enjoy the first one on a second viewing, there really wasn't much carnage, totally wasted. It's just, not very good. So I'm not too excited for the third one. Again, kind of like you, it's like, it looks, I don't know.
It's a movie.
I don't know. It's just weird. Again, it's still, to me, the unfortunate part is that it's not connected to Spider-Man, right? I think the most interesting, Spider-Man's villains are interesting, but it's always interesting in how they relate to Spider-Man, right? So doing that, I mean, the Morbius stuff, we don't even need to talk about that. There's enough videos there. Morbin time. And then like the Craven movie is like, really, like how far are we going to go where we keep doing this? So that ties into, for me, I thought it was interesting reading that article where they're like, we're going to continue to find ways to use AI in our films or something. And I think you'd said, what did you say? Did you try to remember?
I saw something about like that's definitely not what they need to save them or something.
Right.
Because I just can't, like, what they're doing now isn't good.
Right.
And I think that's plain to see with how bad their movies are doing.
Yeah.
But yet they're going to keep beating that dead horse.
Right.
And I think just because they don't want to give up the rights to the Marvel stuff, where I don't know if there's some like clause where it's like, if you don't continue to make movies, then you're going to lose it. And it goes back to like MCU proper.
Yeah. I know that was going on for a while because, like, back in the day, they had those leaks when there was like the talk of, are they going to do Amazing Spider-Man 3 or is it going to go to Marvel? And they were trying to do a Sinister Six movie without Spider-Man. It's like, oh.
Right.
But I remember leaked in that was them talking about doing like an Aunt May spy thriller movie, which I always remember being like, that to me sounds AI generated to be like an Aunt May spy movie. Like, come on, guys. Like, there are even characters you could do, but
I think like a Black Cat movie could work.
Yeah, they've talked about that. They were trying to do a Black Cat Silver Sable thing. But it really is just, for me, such a forced attempt to be like, we're creating this universe, like the Sonyverse, whatever it is. And it's like, I don't know, man. It's just very hard for me to get too excited about those.
I mean, Sony's doing the Miles movies, right? Like Miles Morales stuff?
Yeah, but those are kind of like, it feels like their own team.
Yeah, I
like
agree. But that's what I'm just saying. It's like, move that direction. Just do those. Focus there.
If you were even saying like, we're just going to go more animated, maybe that's part of it. Is what doesn't work is like doing these gritty, like, I don't know, like Craven's the edgy conservationist or something. It's like, it's just that's not what is interesting to me. So the whole AI thing honestly does make sense because a lot of these projects feel like they're made by people who don't really seem to understand like what makes these characters cool in the context of the stories. It's just like, well, people like Venom, and it's like, yeah, people like Venom, but there's a whole connection to Spider-Man and the stories is what people like. It's not just put Venom in anything and it's cool. So that's kind of where, I don't know, maybe they're just like, we've been paying these writers and the movies aren't working, so we might as well have a robot do it. I don't.
Yeah, I will say, like, it seems like for some reason the last couple of weeks I've seen like AI generated stuff of different superheroes, and AI just always seems to want to have them blowing blood out of their butt. I don't know if I'm allowed to put those pictures on screen, but I'm gonna, and subject your eyes to that.
That will be what Mysterio does when he finally shows up in his own movie. You know, where it's just, to me, kind of, it's like wasted to be like, here's a cool character, and okay, the first time the general public is getting to know them in a movie is in kind of a half-baked project that then,
and you're making them a joke so that when a better movie would come along, like if they would ever want to put Morbius in the MCU, people are gonna be like, oh, great Morbin time, right? And it's like, well, you could do better, but you don't know any better because Sony's already ruined it.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I think they definitely, at some point, they got to call it. I don't know how long, because I like, even monetarily, like the Venom first one made a bunch of money. I think the Let There Be Carnage actually did okay, but then they had Morbius, they had Madam Web, and then I guarantee you, like they said, because Craven was going to come out last year, got moved to this August and is now moved to December, and like one of the executives was like, we did that because it's going to be a holiday movie that we think people are going to see over and over again. It's like,
yeah, right.
So I don't know, like if Craven comes out and just totally flops, if they'll just be like, we got to stop, hopefully. Yeah. So Venom is definitely the best out of that bunch. But then there's the weird part of him like pseudo crossing to the MCU, but then now not. But then so who knows? I'm sure Feige's very frustrated with that whole situation. But
true.
So I'm wondering, everybody listening, what you would like to see as a not Spider-Man, but solo character project. Could be a villain, could be anybody. Is there a way Sony can make that work? Have they done too much damage to get back to making good spin-off movies? We'd love to hear from you on that. Please be liking, sharing, subscribing as always. And until next time, stay strong.